Pedro Pascal, Hollywood's charming leading man. Known for his iconic roles in The Mandalorian, The Last of Us, and Game of Thrones, but lately, his off-screen behavior has been raising more than a few eyebrows. Here's the thing, while Pascal is widely beloved for his warm presence and witty interviews, some fans and insiders have started asking, is his constant physical closeness with female co-stars just friendly or something more invasive? Let's get into it. Pedro Pascal has spent the last 5 years building a public image rooted in charm, humility, and emotional vulnerability. Whether it was openly discussing his anxiety, showing emotional intelligence in interviews, or being goofy with fans, Pedro earned the crown of Internet Daddy. But this image is now facing serious cracks. It all began with red carpet footage from the Fantastic Four First Steps press tour. The clip shows Pedro repeatedly touching and holding co-star Vanessa Kirby, her wrist, her shoulder, even hand-holding, prompting some fans to wonder, is this just innocent support, or is it something else? Pedro explained the touching as a result of anxiety. "I need that kind of connection to ground myself," he said in an interview. On the surface, it seemed sweet. But critics were quick to point out an inconsistency. His anxiety only seems to emerge around his female co-stars. Let's be honest, you've never seen Pedro Pascal hand-holding Oscar Isaac or nervously rubbing shoulders with Bella Ramsey on The Last of Us press tour. He's calm, collected, and professional around his male peers and younger, non-romantic co-stars. So what gives? Is this selective anxiety? Or is something deeper going on? When he starred alongside Bella Ramsey, a teenager, and his on-screen daughter, there were no signs of anxious energy. No excessive touching. No visible nerves. Just measured, protective professionalism. But put him next to Vanessa Kirby or Sabrina Carpenter, and suddenly it's wrist grabs, lingering hugs, and nervous laughs. Fans are now asking, why is Pedro Pascal's so-called social anxiety conveniently gendered? Just a few days ago, Pedro appeared in a dance segment with pop star Sabrina Carpenter. In the video, Sabrina playfully flirts, dances, and leans into Pedro while fans on social media erupted, many claiming she was making him uncomfortable. That was the same time Sabrina's Man's Best Friend album cover released, and many fans and critics said she was always being provocative and pandering to the male gaze. And they claimed that she was making Pedro uncomfortable in those clips. But Pedro? He wasn't recoiling. He wasn't nervous. He was grinning ear to ear. So now the narrative flipped again. Was Sabrina crossing a line, or was Pedro perfectly fine, maybe even enjoying the attention? This inconsistency is what makes this whole anxiety narrative fall apart. He appears nervous with Vanessa Kirby, but dances with Sabrina without issue? There's a growing sense that Pedro is cherry-picking when to play the vulnerable card. Vanessa Kirby tried to shut down the conversation in an interview, saying Pedro's hand-holding was just a sign of support and that they were both nervous in front of fans. "He wanted me to know we were in this together." Sure, but if both were nervous, why wasn't Kirby doing the same amount of physical anchoring? Why is the touching one-sided? Why only Pedro needs help? And more importantly, does nervousness justify uninvited physical contact? Because by now, Pedro might have kissed her hand countless times. Does that come under anxiety? Well, if you think Vanessa was okay with that, that's where you're wrong. Even though she said she's fine with it, there was a particular moment during the Fantastic Four premiere where Vanessa Kirby tried to move away from Pedro, and he suddenly grabbed her pregnant belly, saying she shouldn't move away from him. Vanessa then pushed away Pedro's hand.
I've been busy.
I know, baby. But
Answering questions about you.
You can't believe me alone that long. That's a little too long, baby.
We'll need it.
Come on. Very codependent.
Nope, not suspicious at all. Then came the resurfaced video that made things worse. Pedro Pascal cupping Willem Dafoe's wife Giada Cologrand's chin during the 2024 Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony. They were both having a good conversation, and suddenly he grabs her chin right in front of her husband. Willem Dafoe said something to him. We don't know exactly what he said, but it looked like, "Take off your hands." Body language experts, fans, and even casual viewers couldn't ignore Dafoe's visible discomfort. In just a few seconds, you see Dafoe's smile vanish. His posture stiffens. His expression drops. Some defenders called it friendly. Critics called it invasive. But no one can deny it was unnecessary. Was this anxiety again? Or just a pattern? This isn't about one red carpet or one misunderstood clip. It's about a pattern of physical closeness that walks the line between charming and intrusive. And while some fans still swoon, others are asking the uncomfortable but necessary question, is Pedro Pascal being protected by the same internet that once celebrated his softness? Because let's be honest, if this were any other male actor, the narrative wouldn't be so kind. If someone like Ezra Miller or Shia LaBeouf was hand-holding their co-stars to deal with anxiety, the headlines would be very, very different. Pedro Pascal isn't new to this game. He started his acting career in 1999 and has been acting in movies for over 20 years. He's walked dozens of red carpets, attended hundreds of press junkets, and interviewed with the biggest names in Hollywood. And yet, here we are being told he's still so anxious that he needs to grab his co-star's hand or stroke her arm for support, particularly beautiful and hot actresses. How does this still track? Are we expected to believe that one of the most seasoned, beloved actors in Hollywood has not developed any coping mechanisms that don't involve physical contact? Let's talk about this so-called anxiety. Yes, anxiety is real. Yes, it manifests differently for everyone. But anxiety is not a get-out-of-jail-free card for repeated boundary-blurring behavior. The problem is the way Pedro Pascal's anxiety is described and displayed doesn't line up with how he behaves in other settings. Fans point to red carpets with Oscar Isaac where he's playful but composed. Interviews with Bella Ramsey where he's grounded. Talk shows where he's witty and confident. And now, in contrast, we see these oddly intimate moments with female co-stars, especially when the camera's rolling. So, is this really anxiety, or just performance masked as vulnerability? Because in Hollywood, people escape with some cards. Like P. Diddy being labeled as just weird by his lawyers, or Kanye West claiming bipolar disorder to defend saying slavery was a choice. Likewise, is the anxiety card just a tool? This isn't a hit piece. It's a reckoning. Pedro Pascal has been one of the few men in Hollywood championed for emotional intelligence. But when those traits are used to excuse behavior that makes others visibly uncomfortable, we need to pause. Vanessa Kirby defended him. Fans split sides. The memes keep rolling. But there's one thing everyone should agree on. Boundaries matter. Touching someone repeatedly without reciprocal cues, especially under the public eye, isn't cute just because you're anxious. If you need grounding, use a fidget ring, breathing technique, or talk to your co-star privately. Don't grope them mid-interview or mid-photo. Pedro Pascal might still be a good guy. But maybe, just maybe, the internet was a little too quick to crown him king. So what do you think? Is Pedro Pascal's behavior harmless, or is it time we reassess what we excuse under the name of mental health? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you liked this breakdown, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more deep dives into Hollywood's untold truths. This is Celeb Knockout signing off. Until next time, bye.